Mariel here. Welcome to We've Got a Country to Save, brought to you by my friends at InvestYREFI.com. Invest in America like I do. And I want to thank Freedom Chat. Speak freely and message privately with Freedom Chat. Download the app today and subscribe to my channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. We also want to thank Epoch Times, Old Glory Bank, Patriot Mobile, and Birch Gold. What a week! Were UFC's Dana White and Joe Rogan separated by birth? Someone seems to think so. California imposes a $20 minimum wage, the highest in the nation. What could possibly go wrong? Remember when Dems and the media attacked former President Trump for his mean tweets? Move over, Trump. Make way for the mean tweets of President Joe Biden. A stunning new poll about the willingness of the liberal elite to cheat to win elections. Do you remember the Mariel boat lift in 1980 when about 180,000 illegal aliens from Cuba and Haiti came here? Well, over 1 million illegal immigrants have been encountered at the southern border in just the first 6 months of fiscal year 2024. All of that and more. Sports host Sage Steele was interviewing UFC's Dana White and confused him with Joe Rogan.
Last question. What's Joe Rogan's dream?
What's Joe Rogan's dream?
Joe Rogan, Dana White. What's Dana White's dream?
Did you just think I was Joe Rogan?
I totally did.
She just called me Joe Rogan. You thought I was Joe Rogan?
Yeah, I thought you were Joe Rogan.
I was bald before Joe was ever bald. Okay?
I know.
Listen to me.
Joe Rogan and Dana White are literally the only two
So listen to this.
people that I have the... Wait, let me finish. I have the respect for because of how you freaking stood up and support others. So forgive that. But wait.
So I will be walking down the street and people say, oh my God, can I get a picture with you? And I'm like, yeah, go on.
What do they say?
I love your podcast. I watch every one of them. Like, they think they just took a picture with Joe Rogan.
Do you correct them?
No. I just let them go show everybody their Joe Rogan
and then they're going to go look at, watch Joe Rogan and be like, wait, I
just did a 2-hour podcast. I flew here from Vegas and she thought she was interviewing Joe Rogan.
Jesus.
Suck it up. Be a man and rub some dirt in it.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Hold on. Obviously. Does someone...
If you call me Howie Mandel before I leave here, that's a wrap.
Hell no. Good God. I mean, listen, he hasn't been called Candace Owens lately. So.
Yeah, all us white bald guys look alike. So
now, in her defense, they do look alike. My question is real simple. She interviewed him for 2 hours. Did Sage Steele think he was Joe Rogan for the whole 2 hours? It could have been a lot worse.
Joining me now to talk about this and the nation's real problem of joblessness, the Reverend Al Sharpton. What's your reaction to hearing someone say, you know, when it comes to income inequality, all's well. The rising tide floats all boats.
I'm Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Right. I'm so sorry. The script in front of me said Reverend Al Sharpton. I'm looking at your face. I know who you are, Reverend Jackson. We all do. I'm sorry.
Tough day at the office.
Come on, walk it off.
I can't walk.
Rub some dirt on it.
Put no dirt on no bullet holes.
Now, you know Joe Biden's in deep, deep voodoo when he's lost the rock.
The endorsement that I made years ago with Biden was one I thought was the best decision for me at that time. Am I going to do that again this year? That answer is no. I'm not going to do that because what I realized, what that caused back then was something that tears me up in my guts back then and now, which is division.
On the other hand, Biden may just get an endorsement from Taylor Swift.
Can you confirm or deny that there is an active conspiracy between you and Ms. Swift?
Where are you getting this information? It's classified.
It's classified information?
That's classified
you won't share it with us?
I'm not gonna, but I will tell you, she did endorse me in 2020.
She did. I bet you might be wondering. You think it might come around again?
I told you it's classified.
You started the briefing by wishing congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs as well as to all the Swifties out there. I'm wondering when the Chiefs are invited to the White House, does the White House intend to also invite Taylor Swift?
that's going to be up to the chiefs and obviously their decision to figure out who's going to come with them when they come. And as you know, it's a White House tradition. I can't speak to attendance and who will be here, but we look forward. We look forward to having.
If you hop all around like the Pride kids do, you're doing the fry step. It's fun for you. Fry girls.
Now, the real issue is which candidate, if any, will be endorsed by Caitlin Clark. If Biden gets Clark's endorsement, then it's who's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
Are you with me?
Yeah! Help! Okay, that came out now for real.
Wait. No, it's okay. I got 10 seconds with these sons of. I got him.
Wait a second.
No, wait. Oh, fuck.
I will keep you posted. Now, on April 1st, California's brand new minimum wage law went into effect. This is a 25% hike. Now, Econ 101 will tell you that as a result, people will get laid off or won't get hired in the first place. Prices will go up, which of course hurts those on fixed income, or there will be an added incentive to automate. Now, as to higher prices, this gentleman has found a solution.
Right. Ain't nothing you can do, though. There's nothing you can do, man, until you call police. Ain't nothing you can do, man, until the police come in. Hey, don't. Hey, ain't nothing you can do, man. Don't do that. Don't do that, man. Don't do that.
It's okay. Okay, Brenda. Okay.
Whooping his down. That's called whooping your. That's called whooping your.
Looks like economics Nobel Prize winner Milton Friedman was right when he said,
well, minimum wage law is most properly described as a law saying employers must discriminate against people who have low skills. That's what the law says. The law says here's a man who has a skill which would justify a wage rate of $1.50, $2 an hour. You may not employ him. It's illegal because you have to. If you employ him, you have to pay him $2.50. Well, what's the result? To employ him at $2.50 is to engage in charity. Now, there's nothing wrong with charity, but most employers are not in a position where they can engage in that kind of charity. Thus, the consequences of minimum wage rates have been almost wholly bad, to increase unemployment and to increase poverty. Moreover, the effects have been concentrated on the groups that the do-gooders would most like to help. The people who have been hurt most by minimum wage laws are the blacks. I have often said that the most anti-Negro law on the books of this land is the minimum wage rate.
Blacks are the most harmed. Ouch. What makes YREFI so different from other investments? Let's quickly break it down. YREFI offers a secured collateralized portfolio with a strong fixed rate of return, up to 10.25%. There is no attack on your principal. If you ever need your money back, you can get it back. You're in control. You can let your investment compound daily or take income, whatever you choose. There are absolutely no fees, and an investment in YREFI is an investment in America's future. Simply call 888-YREFI24. That's 888-YREFI24. And when you call, you will not get a sales pitch, just the info you need to see if YREFI is a better investment option for you. Or log on to investYREFI.com. That's invest, the letter Y, then REFY.com, and make sure you tell them Larry Elder sent you. I'm old enough to remember when Dems, media, academia, big tech, Hollywood criticized Trump for his, quote, undignified, mean tweets, end of quote. Move over, Mr. Trump. Joe Biden has been tweeting. Biden tweets, Trump is feeble?
Anyway, let's follow my orders here.
Trump is confused? Trump is tired?
This is my message from Earth to
Trump is weak and desperate? Trump is old and out of shape? Former ESPN host Sage Steele had an interview with Joe Biden when she worked for ESPN. Now she says that every single question she asked him was scripted. And get this, she had to read the questions verbatim. And there would be no follow-ups. Why? Because of Biden's declining mental capacity and the fear by other ABC, ESPN, and or Biden handlers, or both, that he wouldn't be able to handle an interview unless, apparently, he knew all the questions verbatim ahead of time?
Mr. President, thank you for being here as we get set for a wonderful day in sports. Opening day for America's national pastimes.
This was about 2 months after he took office. That was an interesting experience in its own right because it was so structured and I was told, you will say every word that we write out. You will not deviate from the script and go. To the word, like every single question was scripted, gone over dozens of times by many executives, editors and executives. Absolutely. I was on script and was told not to deviate. It was very much, this is what you will ask. This is how you will say it. No follow-ups. No follow-ups. Next. I knew that this was a lot bigger than just the wonderful editors that I worked with. This went up to the fourth floor, as we said, that we're all the bosses, the top executives, the decision makers are the president of our company, the CEO, where they all worked. The big picture to me is that I think it's heartbreaking. I think it's really heartbreaking that the people who love Joe Biden and say they truly care about him have allowed it to get to this point. So I'm not even looking at this from a political angle or my beliefs in anything. This is the human side of it. And when someone is struggling, we allow them to continue to be in the spotlight and put them out there in the first place when they knew there were issues. Of course, they had to know. So it's a humanity thing with me where I don't care where anyone stands and what they vote in for or who they believe in. Do you really care about that person? As a father, as a husband, everything.
Do you really think this man can make it until November? Now, over 1 million illegal aliens have been encountered at the southern border in the first 6 months, fiscal year 2024. I'm old enough to remember the 1980 Mariel boat lift. Do you?
The wave of immigrants created political headaches for U.S. President Jimmy Carter when his administration failed to develop a consistent response to the mass wave of new arrivals.
And this was about 125,000 illegal aliens. A June 1980 CBS New York Times poll found 71% of Americans disapproved of the boat lift and of allowing Cuban nationals to settle here. Again, 125,000 Cubans and Haitians. By the time Biden leaves office, we're looking at 10 million illegal aliens in the country in the last 4 years. Did I say 10 million?
$10 million! $10 million, 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 $10 million.
Damn it! I'm right back where I started, damn it!
You remember when ABC's Martha Raddatz, shortly after Biden got elected, asked an illegal alien coming across the border, would you have tried this if Trump were still in office? He said, absolutely not. Biden has given us permiso.
Would you have tried to do this when Donald Trump was president?
Definitely not. Definitely. We had the chance, the same violence that is going on today was there last year. We used to watch the news, and I definitely won't do this.
So did you come here because Joe Biden was elected president?
Basically.
But Denver's newcomer communications liaison, that's an office? Newcomer communications liaison, Andres Carrera, he's got a solution. Don't come here. Go to Chicago.
Opportunities are over. That's Andres Carrera, political director for Denver Mayor Mike Johnston.
Nueva York te da más, Chicago te da más. Entonces sugiero que vaya por allá, donde hasta también con un albergue de más largo plazo, también hay más oportunidades de trabajo por allá.
Carrera is Denver's so-called newcomer communications liaison. That means that he meets the busloads of new arrivals. The city says this group got here on March 26, sent up by Texas's Republican Governor Greg Abbott. He warns them the jobs, the resources, the opportunities have already gone to the 40,000 migrants who came to Denver before them.
Hemos recibido demasiados migrantes y por eso se acabaron los recursos. Mira, no te vamos a bloquear. Si quieres permanecer aquí, no estoy aquí para bloquearte. Estoy aquí para avisarte que tu camino no ha terminado. Si permanecen aquí, vas a sufrir hasta más. Y eso no lo quiero ver.
Parents listen quietly as children play on the floor. As Denver tells these families that have sometimes walked from one continent to another that they just have to keep moving. But they don't have to walk. Denver will buy them a bus ticket.
Tu camino no ha terminado. Tu camino no ha terminado. Que viajas un tantito más. No tienes que caminar por ningún parte. Podemos comprarte boleto gratuito. Puedes ir a cualquier ciudad. Hasta la frontera de Canadá te llevamos. A donde sea.
This is my kind of town. Chicago is my kind of town. Chicago is.
But I don't know.
People have been waiting for years. Let's say, for example, for to get citizenship, and they don't get anything. They've been here 40, 50 years. They can't get no amnesty. But then these people come, they get everything. They're getting their rent paid, they're getting money, they're getting phones, they're getting etc. What about the homeless people? What about the veterans? The veterans, exactly.
This gentleman has an idea.
And we will end deadly sanctuary cities. We're going to end them. I will shift massive portions of federal law enforcement to immigration enforcement. We're going to do immigration enforcement, not paperwork. We're doing all paperwork. We're doing everything.
Trump 2024. Man with a plan. Where do I sign? Let me ask you a question. How many of you are concerned about the invasion of privacy that is currently going on by this administration? Biden's DOJ is invading individuals' private messages and targeting them based on their political affiliation, and that's why I partnered with Freedom Chat, a private social messaging app that, like me, believes privacy is your fundamental human right. Freedom Chat has verifiable end-to-end encryption, built-in screenshot protection, no storage of messages on their servers, and no commercial use of user data. I am such a fan of Freedom Chat, in fact, that I've created my own private channel that you can subscribe to for exclusive content, including never-seen images, videos, and posts. Simply download the app, or if you're on Android, join their waitlist, search for my channel, and subscribe. No one can see the channel that you are subscribed to or the posts that you react to. It's your own, perfectly curated private news feed. Speak freely and message privately with Freedom Chat. Again, download the app today and subscribe to my channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. Check out this new Scott Rasmussen poll. Would you rather have your candidate win by cheating or lose by playing fair? Among all Americans when asked, suppose your favorite candidate loses a close election. However, people in the campaign know that you can win by cheating without being caught. Would you rather have your candidate win by cheating or lose by playing fair? Now, just 7% of Americans said they would want their candidate to win by cheating. But among those whom Rasmussen calls the elite 1%, these are individuals who make over $150K, live in densely populated areas, have a postgraduate degree. These are individuals who also happen, by the way, to be overwhelmingly liberal. They give a very different answer. 35% said they would want their candidate to win by cheating. And it gets worse. Among those in this elite 1%, who are what Rasmussen calls the politically obsessed, meaning they talk about politics every single day, 69% said they would want their candidate to win by cheating.
I'll be back pulling strings to get guys elected mayor and governor before you ever get a $10 raise. Yeah, how many of those guys in office owe everything to me? I made them. Yeah, I made them just like a tailor makes a suit of clothes. I take a nobody, see? Teach him what to say, get his name in the papers. Now, pay for his campaign expenses. Dish out a lot of groceries and coal, get my boys to bring the voters out, and then count the votes over and over again till they added up right and he was elected.
Here's more about the elite 1%.
So that's the elite 1%. They represent 1% of the population. They are extraordinarily influential. They also, heavy concentration of them went to one of 12 elite schools, many of whom have been in the news lately, the schools. And the reason I bring that up is about half the policy positions in government, half the corporate board positions in America are held by people who went to one of these dozen schools. So their views really play a large role in the country, and it all feeds into this elite 1%.
The elite 1% are very different from the rest of the population. How different?
Most Americans think we don't have enough individual freedom. Among the elite 1%, about half say, no, we've got too much freedom. And among that politically obsessed group, about 7 out of 10 say there's too much individual freedom in America. I know that's just mind-boggling to me. But part of the reason is because they trust the government. In America, it's been 50 years since most voters trusted the government to do the right thing most of the time. I mean, it's been since 1972. But among the elite 1%, 70% trust the government. Why? Well, partly it's because of what we mentioned earlier. They can get in touch. They can reach out to their congressman or to an agency person. They are the government to a large degree. And it's not a conspiracy. A lot of talk about deep state conspiracies. Truly, it's a sense of a fraternity. We all know each other, and we really don't understand the rest of the country.
Absolutely scary. Speaking of DEI, what do you think John F. Kennedy would think about race-based preferences, affirmative action, and DEI?
Mr. President, some Negro leaders are saying that, like the Jews persecuted by the Nazis, the Negro is entitled to some kind of special dispensation for the pain of second-class citizenship over these many decades and generations. What is your view of that in general? And what is your view in particular on the specific point that they are recommending of job quotas by race?
Well, I don't think that is the generally held view, at least as I understand it, of the Negro community, that there is some compensation due for the lost years, particularly in the field of education. What I think they would like is to see their children well educated so that they could hold jobs and have their children accepted, have themselves accepted as equal members of the community. So I don't think we can undo the past. In fact, the past is going to be with us in a good many years in uneducated men and women who lost their chance for a decent education. We have to do the best we can now. That's what we're trying to do. I don't think quotas are a good idea. I think it's a mistake to begin to assign quotas on the basis of religion or race, color, nationality. I think we get into a good deal of trouble. Our whole view of ourselves is sort of one society. Now, that hasn't been true, but at least that's where we're trying to go. And I think that we ought to not to begin the quota system. On the other hand, I do think that we ought to make an effort to give a fair chance to everyone who's qualified, not through a quota, but just look over our employment roles, look over our areas where we're hiring people and at least make sure we're giving everyone a fair chance, but not a hard, fast quotas. So much for we're too mixed, this society of ours, to begin to divide ourselves on a basis of race or color.
Now, today, any Democrat who spoke like that would be called racist. Now a word about Patriot Mobile. Americans have had enough of supporting companies that hate our values. Tired of compromise? It's time to switch to Patriot Mobile, America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They are an example of putting the cause ahead of profits, and that's why I'm proud to partner with them. Patriot Mobile offers dependable nationwide coverage, giving you access to all 3 major networks, which means you get the same coverage you've been accustomed to without funding the left. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you're sending the message that you support the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the sanctity of life, and our military, vets, and our first responder heroes. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service team makes switching really easy. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their team will help you find the best plan for your needs. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation when you use offer code Larry. Join me, make the switch today. patriotmobile.com/Larry. That's patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT. From the newspaper that called me the blackface of white supremacy. About the NCAA women's basketball game between Iowa and Louisiana State, the LA Times changed an op-ed that called LSU's women's basketball team dirty debutantes. They were accused of being sexist and racist. The paper said the phrase dirty debutantes didn't meet their editorial standards. Who knew they had any?
You don't have to worry. I ain't about to leave some poor little child stranded in the middle of nowhere. I got scruples too, you know. You know what that is, scruples?
No, I don't know what it is, but if you got them, I sure bet they belong to somebody else.
Now, LSU was steam. Good versus evil. Called us dirty debutantes. LSU's coach Kim Mulkey said, take your phone out right now and Google dirty debutantes and tell me what it says. Dirty debutantes? Are you kidding me? I'm not going to let you talk about 18 to 21-year-old kids in that tone. It was even sexist for this reporter to say UCLA was milking cookies.
We told you earlier that the writer of that article that was issued over the weekend posted on social media an apology. The LA Times also posted one last night. Aaron Rodgers is here now to tell us how the players are reacting to all of this. Aaron.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, in the past hour, the writer that wrote this article said that society has to deal with many layers of misogyny, racism, and negativity. And he now sees why those words that he chose were wrong.
I wish we hadn't have read that, because I think that can crush your soul a little bit, that someone would ever say that about us that doesn't know us.
I don't even know what dirty debutantes are, but I know when I Googled it, I went, oh, how dare people attack kids like that? You don't have to like the way we play. You don't have to like the way we trash talk. You don't have to like any of that. We're good with that. But I can't sit up here as a mother and a grandmother and a leader of young people and allow somebody to say that. I don't get that. I'm sorry. I come from a different generation. I get it. But I know sexism when I see it and I read it. That was awful.
Now, I bet you that the LA Times writer dare not write about something worth writing about. It's the fact that LSU, in their game against Iowa, refused to come out and stand for the national anthem. And what did Coach Mulkey say about not standing up for the national anthem?
Wasn't on the floor during the national anthem. First part, was that a conscious decision on your part? Second, can you say what the team was doing during that time?
Honestly, I don't even know when the anthem was played. We kind of have a routine where we are on the floor and then they come off at the 12-minute mark. That's when we just, I don't know, and we come in and we do our pregame stuff. I'm sorry, listen, that's nothing intentionally done.
Wow. They've done this all year and nobody called them out until just now? Something tells me that's going to change. This is Louisiana, not California. The governor of Louisiana said failing to come out and stand for the national anthem should be grounds to revoke your athletic scholarship.
I think this is a bigger question. This is a bigger problem for collegiate sports nationally and in Louisiana. I just sent out a letter to each one of our college boards telling them that those college boards should put in place a policy that respects the national anthem. The national anthem is as much a part of American sports as is the actual game that's being played. And the fact that there is not a policy that says, listen, these players are going to be out there and respect the flag and respect those that go out there and protect us is really disrespectful in and of itself. So it's unfortunate that LSU was not there at that particular time. Iowa was on the field. That highlighted the particular problem. And what we're going to do is work in Louisiana and say, listen, college athletes need to understand that in order to be truly united, in order to truly have civics and civility, we all need to be united under one flag and respect that anthem.
Well, let's see what happens in their next game. Oh, and by the way, after not coming out for the national anthem, LSU got their butts kicked.
That will do it. This time, it's Iowa.
Gunga, galunga. Gunga, gunga, gunga.
I knew it. Just saying. Got a question. Some people call former New England Patriots coach Bill Belichick the greatest coach ever.
The man standing to my left brought the leadership and coaching skills that were needed to make this type of unprecedented success that we have had possible. Coach Belichick will forever be celebrated as a legendary sports icon here in New England, and I believe go in as a Pro Football Hall of Famer on the first ballot. Why? Because he is the greatest coach of all times.
Okay, how come Belichick, the man many consider the greatest NFL coach in history, remains unemployed? Is it because after Belichick and Tom Brady parted, Brady went on to win a Super Bowl and Belichick never won another playoff game? Belichick has 302 wins, 165 losses as an NFL head coach. That's a .647 win percentage. 31 versus 13 postseason record. But in the 4 years after Brady, the record is 29 and 33. That's a .433 win percentage with just one playoff appearance, and the Patriots lost that game. Belichick had 10 full years without Brady. Belichick's record without Brady is among the worst in NFL history. Is this the reason the greatest coach in NFL history does not have another gig, even though he clearly wants one? Or is it because his white privilege has failed to kick in? You be the judge. There is a very common sense reason gold is pushing up to all-time highs right now. Actually, there are several reasons. The cost of goods continues to rise despite interest rate controls by the Fed. Since January 21, cost of living is up 17.9%. The national debt continues to skyrocket, now above $34 trillion, causing many to worry when the house of cards will come crashing down. A presidential election year that will have massive implications on the future of this country. All of this adds up to instability and uncertainty, and that is why so many Americans are turning to Birch Gold Group. Have you diversified your savings yet? Secure a portion of them with gold from Birch Gold. Visit LarryForGold.com and get your free info kit. You'll learn how to convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold, and it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. With an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, you can count on Birch Gold too. Just visit LarryForGold.com to claim your free info kit and protect your savings from uncertainty today. Now to ABC's Leslie Stahl versus Donald Trump.
Let's get it on! Are you ready for some tough questions?
You're going to be fair.
I'm going to be fair.
Just be fair.
But you're okay with some tough questions?
No, I'm not.
You're not okay with tough questions?
I want him to be fair. You don't ask Biden tough questions.
Now take a look at Leslie versus Joe Biden.
When you say that your own man kind of thing versus working basically for someone else.
Yeah.
So what?
Well, it's like, for example, I would ordinarily have
picked up the phone and called the captain of that ship as chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee.
Right.
Well, it's not appropriate for me to do that. I mean, the president did it right away. You follow me? And
Yes,
so
yes,
it's
of course.
you know, little things. They're really not big things, but little things.
Back to Trump and Leslie.
Do you think that your tweets and your name calling are turning people off?
No, I think I wouldn't be here if I didn't have social media.
Well,
But the media is fake. And frankly, if I didn't have social media, I'd have no way of getting out my voice.
Do you know what you told me a long time ago when I asked why you keep saying fake media?
Yeah.
You said to me, I say that because I need to discredit you so that when you say negative things about me, no one will believe you.
I don't have to discredit you.
But that's what you told me.
You've discredited yourself.
You know, I didn't want to have this kind of angry.
Of course you did.
No, I didn't.
Of course you did.
No, I didn't.
Well, then you brought up a lot of subjects that
Well, I said
were
I'm going to ask you
inappropriately brought
tough
up.
questions.
They were inappropriately
But-
brought up right from the beginning. No, your first question was, this is going to be tough questions.
Why?
You don't ask Joe Biden. I saw your interview with Joe, the interview with Joe Biden.
I never did a Joe
It was
Biden
a joke.
interview.
The interview, 60 Minutes. I see Joe Biden giving softball after softball. I've seen all of his interviews. He's never been asked a question that's hard.
Okay, but forget him for a minute.
No, but you
You're
start
president,
with me.
You're president. And
Excuse me, Leslie, you started with me. Your first statement was, are you ready for tough questions?
Are you?
That's no way to talk. It's no way to talk.
Leslie and Biden.
The only question is when. That's the only question.
Now.
I think we have enough of an interview here, Hope. Okay, that's enough. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go meet for 2 seconds, okay? Thanks. I'll see you in a little while. Thanks.
Be careful.
I bet you anything Trump didn't hit on her. Just saying. Go to theepictimes.com and subscribe and sign up for their free newsletter. And be sure to check out their brand new documentary, The Firing Squad.
Do you ever wake up and realize your life has no purpose?
Do I have a death wish? Morgan asked. Maybe I did. I thought this would be our final run ever. We had made millions and millions of dollars, but God had other plans.
Peter Lowe, the one-time drug dealer turned pastor, along with 2 others, will be executed at 12 midnight local time.
The next day, something strange happened. Someone came up to me and gave me this flyer about Jesus.
I found Christ in here, and he forgave me.
My name is Peter Lowe, and I will be executed in 2 hours.
Jesus is for free, and salvation is a gift. Do you believe in Jesus?
Go to theepictimes.com and subscribe and get on their free mailing list. Let's call this a tale of 2 callers. Caller number 1.
I'll have that for you in just a second, but I was going to play it right now. But George from North Hollywood is called, and I want to talk to George. George, thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it. You're on.
Yes, hi, Mr. Elder. I just had a question is that what problem do you have being born black? And I say that because it seems like listening to your show for I don't know how many years, you seem to justify all the wrong things that white America has done to blacks.
George, I hate to...
Every day, and it seems like people like you, Sean Hannity, you spend 3 hours a day, every day, criticizing Obama, and my reason is only because he's black. And that's surprising.
Well, George, is Sean Hannity born black?
Of course not.
Well, you said you and Sean, so Sean's criticizing him and I'm criticizing him. You started out by saying, what do you have against being born black? I'm trying to figure out why that's your criticism when Sean has not been born black, but he feels the same way about Obama as I feel. Can you explain that, George?
Well, Sean Hannity's automatic because to me, he's a racist anyway.
I see. So Sean is criticizing Obama.
Racist also.
So Sean is criticizing Obama because he's a racist. I'm criticizing Obama because I'm a self-loathing black man?
Yes, I would
I
say
see.
that. And
I
there are
see.
black racists also.
I see. George, that's
there
very...
must be some reason you're so critical of President Obama.
And George, tell me how you feel I've been unfairly critical of Obama. I assume you feel the criticism is unfair, otherwise you wouldn't be calling. How have I been unfair?
And a lot of reasons.
Yeah, no, just give me one reason, George. We only have time for one. Just give me one. It shouldn't be too hard for you since you listen every day. You say you listen every day. It shouldn't be hard. Give me one.
We just listened to the entire concept you played of Romney at
Right.
the Catholic dinner.
Right.
We heard nothing about Obama.
And so I'm supposed to play.
Everything's Romney,
So
Romney.
George, I hate myself
is
because
bad
I'm
for the
black.
country.
I hate myself as a black person because I didn't play 8 minutes of Obama. Isn't that a little lame, George?
You didn't play it, sir.
So therefore, I hate myself.
You didn't
Have
play
you
it.
have you played it?
I've noticed when people
Have you played have you played Obama's speech?
I listened to it. I listened
to it too.
I listened
to it as well.
But I'm not as critical as that.
So George, you're mad at me because I played 10 minutes.
call in-
You're mad at me because I played 10 minutes of Romney telling a joke. I didn't play Obama's, and therefore I hate myself because I'm black. George, really?
No, I'm upset about the fact is that people like you,
People like
Cheyenne,
me.
the whole crew,
The whole crew.
is so critical of Obama,
Mhm.
but yet when people call in, you label them as you say liberals. They're always wrong. They start to stress certain points. You guys hang up on them. You cut them off, which is your power and your right. So why have them call in?
Have I cut you off, George? Have I hung up on you?
Not yet.
No.
I'm shocked.
Well, George, you shouldn't be shocked. You called up. You have a point of view. I'm more than happy to take on people who dissent, as I've done with you. I've not yet quite heard why you feel I've been unfair to Obama, other than I haven't played Obama's 8-minute speech at the Al Smith dinner. But you said you listen to me every day. That's all you've got?
No. For example, and this has been so talked about, Obama inherited a bad situation. Everybody says, oh, here we go with Bush again, here we go with Bush again. But the point is, and the fact is, he did.
I don't. Did I ever say that? Did I ever say that he didn't, George? Excuse me, George. You say you listen to me every day. Did I ever say that he didn't inherit a bad situation? Ever? Ever?
I never heard you say.
Okay,
he did.
George. Obama inherited a bad situation. Are you happier?
I've heard you said he made it worse.
He
by
did.
tripling the debt.
He did.
And then again, I've also heard that.
Well,
no
George,
president made it better.
here's what I'm trying to figure out. Are you saying because I'm a black person, I ought not be criticizing Obama because he's black? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm not saying that.
Well, what are you saying?
What I'm saying is that it seems like for the first time in the history of this country, before Obama, what everybody's been saying, that only a white guy could be qualified to be president.
I'm sorry. Everybody hasn't been saying that, George. I've never said that.
A black man gets to be elected president, and some of the most astute minds in the country, congressmen, senators, scholars, you name it, famous writers, it's been their goal from day one. Don't let this man have a second term. Why? The way I think, I'm not the only one. Millions think the same way, sir. Only because he's black.
George, I know that
my other
millions.
point is-
I know that millions of people think the way you think, George, and millions of people are as wrong-headed as you are. Let me ask you a question. When
like slavery
may I finish my question, please, and you can respond? When President Obama ran for U.S. Senate in Illinois, he ran against Alan Keyes. He's a black man. For whom would you have voted in that election?
Obama.
Why?
I like his policies.
Okay, then. I don't like his policies, George. Why do you have a right to vote for Obama even though you're black and he's black because you like his policies? I don't have a right to vote against Obama because he's black and I'm black and I don't like his policies. Explain that to me, George.
Because like most black Americans, believe it or not, or minorities, and they have the opportunity to vote for a black man before.
You had an opportunity, if you had been in Illinois, to have voted for a black man as a Republican or a black man as a Democrat. Why did you choose a Democrat? You answer, because you preferred his policies. I prefer the Republicans' policies over the Democratic policies, George. Why does that make me a self-loathing black guy? How can you want a self-loathing black guy if you had hypothetically been in Illinois and you voted against Alan Keyes in favor of Obama? They were both black. You voted against a black guy.
Well, as you say, it's American. That's my choice. That's my opinion.
Well, for crying out loud, George, for every day I come on this show and I give my opinion as an American, yet you call me up and you call me a self-loathing black man. You ought to apologize, George. You ought to apologize.
I hear this.
You ought to
every
apologize,
day.
George. You should apologize. Larry Elder, I apologize to you for calling you a self-loathing black man. Come on, George, give it to me. Give it to me.
All right.
I'm sorry?
I apologize.
Thank you. George said he apologized. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Caller number 2.
Lisa. How you doing, Lisa?
Hi, Larry. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
I need to find out something, Larry. I keep hearing you say MSNBC hee-haw.
MSNB hee-haw.
I need to see
Thank you. Thank you. It worked. You laughed.
I'm always laughing. Everything you say, not everything, Larry, but most of the things you say are very humorous. But
I got a feeling you mean that in a sarcastic way, young lady.
No, I do not,
Okay.
Larry. I have a lot of respect for you, even though George had some good points on you, Larry. I happen to be an African-American female. I'm a nurse.
May I interrupt one second? You said George had some good points. What good point did he make? What one good point did he make?
Okay, the point that he made about he compared you a little bit with what is the guy on Fox?
Sean Hannity.
Sean Hannity.
Right.
You guys do have some similarities.
Oh, Lisa, there's no question that we have similarities. We agree about almost everything. My point was he came on and called me a self-loathing black guy and said you're like Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity's white.
And I'm glad he apologized because he was wrong in that sense. But I think you go a lot on party, and you shouldn't do that. You should not do that, Larry. You only go on party.
Okay, Lisa, for whom did Larry Elder vote in 2000?
You did not vote for Barack Obama.
In 2000, Barack Obama ran in 2008.
Okay, who did you vote for in 2000?
Lisa, you're the one who told me I vote the party. You should know. You're the one who tells Larry Elder votes party, so you ought to know. I've been on the air 20 years. I've talked many times about who I voted for in 2000. For whom did I vote?
Well, I just started listening to you, so you got to tell me.
Well, Lisa, when you come into the movie late and then you start talking about what happened earlier on in the movie, that's a little cheeky, isn't it? I mean, seriously.
It's true. Okay.
Okay, I voted for the Libertarian candidate in 2000 because George W. Bush promised to expand government, promised to do the prescription benefit bill for seniors, promised to be the education president, all of which I rejected and wrote a column about why I was, quote, throwing away my vote.
Okay, I apologize on that. I'll go back. I'll apologize on that issue. But do you agree with everything that Mitt Romney says?
Of course not.
All his policies.
Of course not. I don't agree with Romney Care. I don't agree with that silly, condescending way that he dealt with that woman asking him the 72% question.
Okay.
I don't have the same position on abortion, as you know. I'm a libertarian on abortion. I'm a libertarian on marriage. I disagree with him on marriage. I disagree with him on even how he wants to preserve Medicare. I would sunset Medicare. I'd give it 20 or 30 years and get rid of it. I would get rid of Medicaid. I'd get rid of. I would privatize Social Security. He doesn't go nearly as far as I want him to go.
Okay, then, as George, I apologize, and I'll go back and I'll retract that statement. And back to my original purpose for the call. Do you have an acronym for Fox News? Because
I do.
What is it?
Fair and Balanced.
You are so wrong. You need to apologize. You know that is not true. You need to apologize to me for that.
All right. All right. Let me do it bilingual. Lo siento. Thanks, Lisa. Bye-bye.
A not so tough day at the office. Oh, they were so happy when Trump got nailed for the nearly $500 million fine in that case brought by New York Attorney General Letitia James.
500? 500 what, douchebag?
I'm so sorry. So, as it turns out, you know who says he cannot come up with the cash to cover his $400 million plus bond in his New York fraud case.
Breaking news just coming into CNN right now. Attorneys for former President Donald Trump say they're unable to get a bond to pay the $464 million fraud judgment.
His lawyers say he does not have it. The deadline is tomorrow. What are the consequences if he doesn't actually post this?
What happens if he has trouble coming up with the money, and how can he raise it?
Well, there are the practical and the political consequences. If he doesn't post this, the judge could potentially move to start to seize some of his properties.
It is time to pay up Donald Trump.
Maybe if he prepared, he would start to sell things off. I mean, is that a real possibility that he might have to do that?
$454 million for the New York civil fraud trial. So that's coming due.
He doesn't have the money. Nobody wants to lend him the money, in this country anyway. Who knows what's going to happen with Russia and Saudi Arabia, because they know that he doesn't pay his bills back. And obviously, he didn't make enough money in that golden sneaker thing.
I mean, it's such a big amount of money. It is a bigger question of will he be able to get someone to write a bond for him.
And all these people, all you Trump
if he
supporters,
becomes
all the Trump supporters will watch it.
to get the bond.
Do you have enough evidence that he's a lousy businessman yet? Because that's all I heard before when he was running from people. He's a really good businessman. They thought The Apprentice was a real show.
Yes, they
was
did.
a real business.
That's a really important point, Joy.
He's not a good businessman.
And
so
he doesn't
forget about
have
it.
the money. He claims to be a billionaire.
Donald not only has to raise money, he can't deal with any bank certified in New York. So he could go to Russian oligarchs, MBS in Saudi Arabia, people like that.
From the Saudis, I mean, it's not wild. Absolutely. I mean, the idea that some foreign person or even some domestic person would want to, front the cost of this in order to have leverage over the next president, I don't think is ridiculous. And I think the idea of foreign interference is just as serious as domestic interference. What happens if some billionaire also wants to have a favor once Trump is in the office?
To reiterate, the reason people will not lend him money is because he is notorious for stiffing people that work for him.
Donald Trump started fundraising last night. He fundraises off of everything. If it's a cloudy day, he somehow figures out a way to blame Democrats and fundraise off of it. Can he fundraise to pay the penalty, or does he have to fund? I know he's been fundraising for his legal fees for a long time.
But what options does Trump really have at this point?
Well, when he says he's ruling out bankruptcy, that means he's going to file for bankruptcy any minute now. Right? No, because Trump lies like I breathe. I mean, he just inhales oxygen and exhales lies.
Most real estate developers are not liquid. They can't just write a $500 million check. I think that is probably true for most billionaires, although I don't certainly have that experience.
They don't have that available cash. I've read in several different articles that he has a substantial sum of cash. It's not true. I would highly doubt it. He's probably looking at RNC money. He's probably looking at super PAC money, again, as part of money that he would use. But no matter what happens, he does not have enough, and there will have to be a liquidation of his assets.
It does raise always questions about whether he has access to it. I think one thing is certain, he does not have access to the 500+ million he would need. If he has to ultimately just pay this judgment, he would exhaust more than all the cash that he has. I think that's very clear.
You really think he would have to do that?
Well, he can't borrow from any bank registered in New York State, and every big bank in the world, pretty much.
Donald Trump has until Monday to solve a $450 million problem.
The idea that Trump is a billionaire was the original big lie. In fact, it helped make him president. Well, surprise, surprise, it turns out he's not as rich as he claimed to be.
So if Trump cannot pay,
right, bankruptcy is a possibility.
I think the key question is, can Donald Trump afford this?
He doesn't have the cash right now.
Is Letitia James gonna just?
Do you need a tissue?
I don't know if I'm laughing or crying.
Here, try to wipe the tears.
I
don't
will.
see any real tears.
Well, there's tears inside me. But is Letitia James gonna go put a chain on Trump Tower?
The clock is ticking for Trump with only 1 week left to post the bond, or New York Attorney General Letitia James can start seizing his assets, which she said she's ready to do.
Oh, you mean take his stuff?
Yeah.
Just go in there and take his stuff?
Yeah, I do.
Walk out with furniture?
We are prepared to make sure that the judgment is paid to New Yorkers. And yes, I look at 40 Wall Street each and every day.
He's now facing a lot of bad news, which affects his business empire and his money. And we know this also affects potentially his campaign, because he's been taking funds that otherwise would go to political activities and campaign activities and routing them to cover his legal bills. So it's all related because of him, not because of the Attorney General. These are his bills to pay.
I don't think there's many people who believe he has the money.
So they'll take his stuff.
To pay the fraud.
$400 million. Donald Trump has been told he needs to pay more than that total in these two cases combined. You knew him for a long time pretty well. What do you think that number means to him?
That's a total, it's like the death touch to Donald.
He has always campaigned on this idea that I am not beholden to anybody. I don't need donors. I don't need money from anybody because I'm independently wealthy. I'm rich. He says it all the time. Well, it turns out he's not. And it turns out the only reason he was able to amass this fortune is because it was built on a foundation of lies.
Mrs. James understands very clearly that this is an important part of the overall puzzle, and everything that she's done and her office has done thus far doesn't mean anything if she doesn't actually get the damages that she has been awarded. And so she is going to fight doggedly for this.
For Donald Trump, nonetheless, he could have anticipated this and sold a property in the midst of the New York Attorney General's proceeding. And I really would say one of two things is true here. Either he doesn't have the wealth that he suggests he has, or he didn't plan whatsoever.
In just the span of a few weeks, Donald Trump has already accrued more than $500 million in legal penalties.
Does he have solid sources of cash these days, ways that money is coming in?
$464 million, as Alicia said, and his company, again, an extra $111,000 in interest a day until the judgment is paid.
Well, that's so interesting, right? Because it's just and counting, right? There's just going to be, it's going to keep accruing every single day.
And in just a few days, he has to start paying some of the hundreds of millions of dollars that he's racked up in penalties from the other cases. These 4 criminal trials are more than any president has ever faced, but the civil cases are having a huge impact on Donald Trump.
You know, it might have been that through all these years, lenders were willing to kind of look the other way when he was inflating assets. But, you know, now with these kind of judgments against him, this on top of the judgment in the E. Jean Carroll case of, you know, nothing, you know, another $90 million, not insubstantial.
And so it's you're close to $500 million. And
see a tanning bed get brought out.
And this is the inherent problem with a man running for president who's increasingly desperate for money, because who knows what he might do to find it, from potentially looting the RNC, thanks to his newly installed loyalists, including his daughter-in-law, to getting help from some of his foreign dictator friends, to launching fresh rounds of disinformation to bamboozle his way back into the White House.
But wait.
Ever notice how you come across somebody once in a while that you shouldn't have with? That's me.
An appeals court reducing the bond in his civil fraud case by more than half to $175 million.
Even worse.
We want to turn to some breaking news now. Former President Donald Trump has secured a $175 million bond in his New York civil fraud case. Trump secured the bond through Knight Specialty Insurance Company.
And now... Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
By the way, I am a co-founder of Old Glory Bank. Get a free copy of my new book, As Goes California, My Mission to Rescue the Golden State and Save a Nation. Open an account in Old Glory Bank, and when you get your debit card in the mail, activate it, and you will get a free copy of my new book, As Goes California. Just go to oldglorybank.com. That's oldglorybank.com. We get feedback. Last week, we spent a lot of time on the record of Reverend Al Sharpton. A viewer pointed out that I should give some love to the Rev because, after all, over the years, he has been an impeccable dresser. Check out this picture of sartorial splendor. Now look again. Damn! I know what you are no doubt thinking. What, you ask, is the male equivalent of camel toe? You ask, we answer, it's moose knuckle, according to the Dictionary of Slang. A moose knuckle, sometimes called moose knuckles, is the male equivalent to the female camel toe. Just as a camel toe describes when the shape of a woman's labia are revealed through her clothing, so moose knuckle reveals a creased, visible outline of a man's genitalia. A moose knuckle, named for its resemblance to cloven hoof of a moose, is created when a pair of pants, shorts, underwear, or MLB uniforms are too tight in the front.
Watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
The shape made by the testicles when separated by the seam is also sometimes called man toe. You ask, we answer. April 27th will be my birthday. I will be 72 years old. Now, I know I don't look like it. Black don't crack. The elder the berry, the sweeter the juice.
Baby, I got more soul than I can control.
Don't send flowers. Send money.
Happy birthday! Woo! I hope you're hungry. You should see that toast. I couldn't even get it through the door.
Finally, how would you answer this question?
There are 30 cows in the field and 28 chickens. How many didn't? What?
Didn't what? That's not even a question.
Listen, there are 30 cows in the field, 28 chickens. How many didn't?
What?
That doesn't make sense, Joe.
Oh, I think I got it.
What's the answer?
You want me to tell you the answer?
Yeah.
10?
Yes.
Oh.
Let's try that one more time.
Listen, there are 30 cows in the field, 28 chickens. How many didn't?
Oh.
Did you finally figure it out?
But I know when I Googled it, I went,
Hope you enjoyed our show. Have you figured it out yet? Brought to you by our friends at InvestYREFI.com. Invest in America like I do. And remember, we've got a country to save.